get it started now. Okay, so now I'm recording, and this is for anybody
Great.
who's able to make Thursday or not able to make Saturday. So you
Okay.
have any questions hopefully answered in this session. So,
Terrific. Thank you.
no problem. I was just talking to Nora about what it is you need to do in your 20 minutes video with your partner teacher. And what I suggest you do is, I know you're not going to capture everything in 20 minutes. Whatever you capture is fine, so long as you're illustrating your use of one of the strategies from the Module 4 coaching article. If I can see that you're utilizing one of those roles, that's fine. When you attach your coaching checklist, I'll see that you've done more than that. So don't stress about it too much. In one session, you're not going to do everything. You're just not. And you're not necessarily going to see everything with your partner teacher. And I understand that as well. So don't stress too much about the videos. It's really just a way for me to see how you're interacting, that it's what I'm looking to see is that you're making it more of a partnership and less of you telling them what to do, and that it's not you just modeling lessons. And it's really easy to do that. I just kind of to share with you guys, the first time I did coaching was at a school in San Antonio, and I felt like they wanted me to do a lot of modeling, but I didn't feel like it was the best use of my time as a coach. And so I did eventually have the teachers jump in and take over doing the lessons with their classes. Now, to be honest, the lessons I was using with their students was focused on strategies and writing strategies that weren't necessarily mainstream. They were really creative, and so in that sense, modeling the lessons was really helpful. But try to give your, especially if it's a newer teacher or a teacher who's maybe a little less confident with what they're doing, try to give them their wings. Let them give some of these lessons a try, and you can be that guide on the side, or you can sit in the back and be a fly on the wall and take notes, and then share with them afterwards some things they did well and some things that they can, or some tips on how to improve or do something a little bit different next time. So don't worry if you don't capture everything in 20 minutes. I don't expect you to. 20 minutes, I know you're spending more time with your teacher than that. If you capture your pre-teaching conference in 20 minutes, that's fine. If it's the after conference where you're talking about the lesson that they gave and giving them feedback on how they did or tips on what they could do differently, that's fine. If you're videoing you being the guide on the side, or videoing you standing back and giving the feedback, that's absolutely fine. Because I'm going to see one of those strategies, I'm fairly certain, because those are all things we do as coaches. And especially if it's your first time coaching, you know that you're developing, so don't feel like I'm going to get in there and try. It's not a gotcha situation. It's, here's what I saw you did really well. Try this different. I'm coaching the coaches. I'm your coach. So I'm here to give you feedback on how you're coaching. I hope that helps. Okay. I hope that relieves some stress too.
Yes.
I'm looking for the exact same thing from all 9 of you. I'm not going to. I'm going to see something different from each of you, and I'll give you different feedback. And I am working on grading your videos. It's a lot more time consuming than I thought it would be, but they're coming to you. Okay. So I'm going to look at Module 5 real quick, and I know that most of you guys have probably jumped in there and looked at it. And to be honest, and I don't mind recording myself saying this, I was a little bit worried about how am I going to make Module 5 really easy to follow. So as you can see, my internet connection is unstable, according to the little note that just came up. I'm out of town right now, and I'm using family Wi-Fi. Okay, so really this week by Sunday, and of course that's tomorrow. Let me go back real quick. You only had really one thing due. Video 3, 20 to 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes with your partner teacher, illustrating something you're doing or some element of one of those strategies. 10 points, of course, and that 10 points goes into your final case study grade, which I think the way I work that is really well, because you're getting credit for the videos and you're getting credit for the paper, and it's not like you've got 100 points attached to this one paper. The research paper, yeah, but I'll talk to you about that too, because that one I tried to make as free of stress as possible while not completely getting rid of the research paper. Okay, so I went ahead and copied the best practices PowerPoint here as well. That way if you can go back and revisit it if you needed to. I do have a 2017 coaching article that I'd like you guys to read. It's really more of a study on coaching. So I think that might be just kind of a really good way to look and see some findings based on coaching, literacy coaching in the classroom. And a little space for you to upload your video 3. So module 5 is pretty cut and dry. But I think the thing about module 5 that may have caused a lot of people the most, I think, anxiety is the fact that now you need to start thinking about, I mean, you're working with your student, you know what your skill that you're focusing on is. Now it's time for you to really start pulling in articles and really working on your research paper, which is also due at the end of the semester. I know, the end of the semester seems like it's right around the corner, but you're gonna be fine because I want you to see what I've done with it. So I'm going back to the units page and it's taking a few minutes, but it's getting there. Here we go. If you scroll way to the bottom, I've pulled in research paper guidelines. So, and I tried to make this as user-friendly as I could without it being overwhelming and without it being just too much on one page. And so basically for this course, your research should be focused on a topic relevant to your student or your partner teacher. In other words, focus on the activities you created for the student, or if you want to, focus on the activities you're helping your partner teacher design. Honestly, don't reinvent the wheel here. I highly recommend choose something that you've already been writing or working on for this course, because that's way too much for you to be worrying about here during the semester. It's a 6-hour semester. It's supposed to be challenging. I know. Trust me, I get as stressed out for you guys as you guys feel stressed out, because I know it's a lot for a 7-week semester, but you're going to be okay because I try to help you guys with some ideas. Possible topics, guys, these were just ideas I came up top of my head. You can make it as narrow or as broad as you want. So if you want to do a research paper on fluency, that's fine. A research paper on fluency is absolutely fine. But if you want to focus it on fluency instruction for elementary, fluency instruction for secondary, narrow it if you need to. And I know my screen here is really teeny tiny. I apologize for that. Phonemic awareness in general, or phonemic awareness for older students with dyslexia, you decide what you want to focus on. You may not find enough articles on phonemic awareness for older students, but I'm sure you'll find tons in general, ideas of how to teach those skills. Morphemic analysis for upper elementary, and so on. You decide what you want to focus on. I know I've got one student who's focusing on vocabulary for ESL students. That's great. It's narrow enough, but it's not so broad that she's going to find way too much information. That's really easy to kind of like fall down that rabbit hole when you're trying to pull in articles. And then I gave some suggested subheadings. Start with an introduction, and then a topic definition. In other words, what are the researchers out there? What are articles and people in the field? How do they define fluency? How do they define vocabulary? And if there's more than one definition, tell me whose definition you're going to use. So a couple of paragraphs, or maybe even just one paragraph, defining your topic is really essential, because if I'm reading this and I don't really have a huge background in fluency, I would love for you to explain to that novice reader what fluency is, because we know there are several definitions out there for fluency, but how are you defining it? We know that's, I know some older definitions focus on timed readings. Other researchers out there say, no, don't time them. You're looking for more of you're looking for prosody, you're looking for phrasing, you're looking for, accurate reading. So you decide what your definition is going to be. And then your biggest section should be on those strategies. I highly recommend, if you're using the same topic as you used for your case study check 3, start there. Start with those, and then just build and just broaden it out. Research suggests several different strategies for, assisting students in improving their fluency. And then start pulling in the research you found. I'm just kind of explaining, because here you're not telling me what lessons you're using with your students. You're more to having a discussion on what research agrees is effective strategies for supporting these skills. So again, it's a much deeper dig into what you did for your case study check 3. So that's what I liked about case study check 3. I feel like it feeds straight into this research paper. And then finally, a conclusion paragraph. Just wrap it up. Tell me why. Here's a good place for you to explain why it's important to use specific strategies on this particular topic with whatever your population of students are. And I know a lot of you, and I'm really excited about this. I hate to be a total research nerd. I'm really excited about how many of you guys are working with older students, because typically when we think about reading interventions, we think about the younger children, and that's important. It's really important to catch them young, but we know sometimes we don't catch them young, and they make it to 4th, 5th, 6th, middle school or high school, and they need assistance. Well, what do we do to help those students? And so I'm so excited to see what you guys learn about helping your older students. So, and that's, like I said, that's me being a research nerd. I'm excited to see what you guys learn. And then a general rubric, 15% organization, 15% conventions and APA, and then 20% on your operational definition, which is, where you're defining your skill. And then finally, half of it on the strategies, because that's going to probably be the largest chunk. Okay. Does that help?
Yes.
I hope so. Now, here's the exciting part. I was going to say a larger paper. If you guys can write at least 3 to 6 pages, I'm happy. Now, that means 3 body pages, double-spaced APA. That's not that hard. I mean, seriously, if you think about how you're going to have an introduction paragraph, your operational definition, you're gonna those 3 pages are gonna fill up pretty quickly. And so I'm looking to see that you guys are learning as much as you can about developing those skills. I'm not looking that you are going through this. This is more about you learning about addressing student skills, less about you guys going through the motions of writing me a paper. So and that's why I'm saying 3 to 6 pages. That's not counting the cover page, not counting the reference page. At least 6 references. That shouldn't be too hard. You probably have at least 3 or 4, I'm hoping. And when I was looking at your case study part 3, you've got some already. So you've got a fantastic start on that. And my son is in the little camper with us right now, so you hear him talking. Hi, Caleb. Okay. All right. So there's that. And so again, it's more about you learning, less about just doing the assignment for your score or in your grade. One more thing I wanted to stress is, and it's okay, I did not take off if you guys used an old a former textbook that you had in the class as your foundation for your 5 strategies that you described in case study part 3. However, what I need you to do is to figure out or learn or just see what research supports it, other than the textbook you used. And a very, very, I think, popular one with this class is the gunning text. And I'll agree, the gunning text is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for some of you guys, I actually pointed you to the page number, and I said, see right here where it says so-and-so's name? There's a reference section in the back of that book. You can find the article or the text where that comes from. You should use that instead, because textbooks are great and they're wonderful, but what a textbook is, it's kind of like, let's take all this research and put it into this one source. And so it's really important for you guys to know what the original research was that supports the strategies. I feel like Gunning did a great job at talking about those as you read about the strategies. But if you're stuck, if you're like, well, I really love Reader's Theater, but I just can't find a source that supports Reader's Theater, I can help you figure out exactly where to go with some of these strategies, because I've actually written about them a few times. And so let me know if you're completely stuck and the Gunning text is not helping you, or whatever other text you're using wasn't helping you. Also, and this is not for me to be a complete bummer for you guys, try not to use a website as your source. Go to the website and look and see where they're citing from. Some of y'all, I went to the websites to take a look. Yeah, the source that they've used is right there for you, that means that's a good website. And actually, just the fact that I knew where the website was, or the name of the website, I knew it was a good website. But look a little deeper in that website and see where it's from. And if that doesn't help you, let me know. I can help you find it. Otherwise, that's your research paper. These are your guidelines. 3 to 6 pages, I think, is super reasonable. I mean, just considering the fact that you guys are so, most of you at least, so far along in your master's program, 3 to 6 pages, it's probably like, wow, I can do that. That's what I hope you saw. So again, dig deeper, be more general about the strategy that you're teaching about, and let me know if you need any assistance. There's my son. Okay. We'll play with your cousins. Okay. Okay, so there's that. All right, so one last thing I want to talk to you about is the case study. So if you go into the case study folder, I left it there because it's the best place to keep it. I revised that case study practicum rubric or template because it is different than the general case study template. We've got some samples of how they have been written in the past. Go to those just to kind of get an idea if you feel like you're presenting your information or your data the way you think it should be. It's going to be different for every one of you, and so that's fine. But if you go to this case study basic template, it's a Word document. I encourage you guys to type right into it if you need to. But we'll pull it up real quick. And I say real quick, but my connection's really, really spotty today. Here we go. Come on, Microsoft Word. Okay, there we go. All right, so I kind of left a lot of it the same as before. Your pupil background, your teacher, your partner teacher background. If I had any questions about your case study part 1, I wrote notes on case study part 1. It might say something like, develop your teacher, your partner teacher background some more. That was my general comments. That if I gave comments, that's what I gave comments about. And that's fine. I mean, it was a common theme, but I think it's because it's easy to get that data on your students. And with your partner teacher, you may not have known them as well as you do now. So develop that a little bit further. Diagnostic information, summary of assessment, that's for the students that you videoed and you're working with. And then student summary, what did you do with them? How did your lessons, basically mini lit review, that's from your section 3, your case study part 3. Procedures for your intervention, and basically what did you do? If you want to go day by day or just maybe generally talk about, we did this sort of activities for our for the first week, we did these kinds of activities. You decide how you want to kind of shape that student summary. Because here you're talking about what you did with your students, what seemed to work well, what did you have to change, and folks, don't worry about it. Sometimes the best planning in the world, sometimes you find that certain things don't work as well as you thought they would. This is a great place to talk about it. And then finally, description of post-test analysis, if you're able to give one. You do want to have some information here about how the student has grown, what sorts of changes you saw with a student. And guys, honestly, the changes may only be qualitative. Maybe they're more comfortable reading in front of the teacher, or maybe their attitudes about reading have changed. Or perhaps now they started reading at this level, and now here at the end, they read on another level, and that's fine. So no worries with that. Let me know if you have any questions about the student summary, because it seems to be the biggest chunk. What makes this case study different from the class that you took with Dr. Garrett is the partner teacher summary. Describe the teacher's role with the students. Describe the strategies you use with your partner teacher. Go to that module 4 article, Literacy Coaching for a Change, and talk about the strategies that you use that you thought was most effective or maybe least effective with your partner teacher. And then assess their growth. What kinds of changes in their teaching or changes in their attitudes or efficacy did you notice at the end? And then finally, discussions, your thoughts based on your results, like, were I to work with this teacher for at the beginning of next year, here are some areas that I think I would address with her. Working with our student moving forward, these sorts of strategies might be most effective with the student. So really, I just kind of took the old case study rubric and our template, and I just kind of expanded it. So that is that. Let me know if you have a question about the case study template. Okay. I know that my connection isn't that great right now, but what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go back to our page because I just went into my doctoral page, is, let me take a look. It's slow. Okay, yeah, it's super slow. Well, what I'm going to do is I am going to go in and I am going to, there we go. I'm going to go in and pull in some samples for you guys. In the case study folder, there is a sample of student only. I'm going to leave that like it is. This is a new course that we're developing. Really, you guys are going to be the first ones to really kind of go running on coming up with a case study with your student and your teacher. And so I really don't have any samples there. I'm hoping that Practicum case study basic template is going to help you there. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I will be opening Module 6 tomorrow. I know I work on Easter, but I'll be opening it tomorrow, maybe tonight if I get a chance. But otherwise, I think I may have lost Nora. I know that connection is really, really terrible right now. But give me an email. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, you guys have a wonderful holiday, and I will see you soon.